All right, so we have Mark Jeffrey here from Big Point Player, founder, creator. Welcome, Mark. How are you?
Very good. It's a nice sunny day, as it happens in London, UK, which is odd for early March.
That is very odd for early March in London. So obviously we have you on here to talk about this phenomenal program that you've created that I've come to learn as of recent. As you know, we have a player in our club right now that is actually going through the process and is already seeing some fantastic results. So wanted to talk to you a little bit about obviously the Big Point Player. And if you could dig into a little bit about what it's about and how you got there and why you created it.
Okay. Well, the first question is, without trying to get you to run to your psychoanalyst, is, can you right now remember the last time and then the very first time that you were 1 point away from a famous victory and somehow it slipped away? Do you have any of those memories?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The most painful one for myself, I was actually in high school. It was a doubles match, not even singles. Top seeds for the section, had went to states the year prior. We were up against an unseeded team. I think it was second round, right? Supposed to roll this team over. They played lights out. We of course got tight, my partner and I, and we've all been through this, and this is kind of why I think the program is so special, because it really digs into what happened in that moment, why we were certainly more skilled players, but we choked, right? And we got into that big point moment and couldn't convert. And as everyone's been there, it's like this kind of fog that just rolls over you, and you're not thinking clearly, and you clam up, and it's the worst thing ever, obviously, right? And so it still haunts me today.
How long ago was that?
Oh gosh, that was probably, let me think here. So that was 20 years ago, 21 years ago. Yeah.
So the good and the bad news is those memories will probably be with you until they throw dirt over you.
That is absolutely true. That is absolutely
true. I have
true.
some going back 40, 45 years, 6-love, 3-love up in my first Army singles final. And I can remember saying now, my God, I'm playing so well. I'm sure I won't be able to keep this up. And sure as hell, I didn't. Mm-hmm. And then even more painfully, I think grass court number 5 at Wimbledon. Army number 1 against the RAF number 1, underdog. He was former Davis Cup, wasn't expected to get anywhere close. Got to the third set, 2 match points. The crowd had gathered
mm-hmm.
right in front of the Ivy.
That's even worse. If you
oh no, the crowd was good because it is very big, the Army, RAF, Navy.
Yes,
so you knew the whispers were going around. Oh, Mark's going to win. The crowd was going. When he won, big applause. When I won, big applause. 2 match points. It was quiet.
Yes.
And I served. I was even serving. And I did a great serve down the middle. He did a useless backhand little flip shot. Volleyed it again deep down the middle. All over the net. See, there you go. I'm right there right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's amazing. You actually remember the point.
Mm-hmm. Backhand shot, and it hit the top of the net. Bounced over my racket, and literally, if it just hit my racket or gone anywhere in court, I would have been game, set, and match to Mark Jeffrey. And before I knew it, because I was just so devastated, it bounced over my racket. Minutes later, the umpire was going game, set, and match to Flight Lieutenant Peter Harding, 45 years ago. And of course, what happens then is after the match, my head's in the towel. People are coming up, trying to be kind, going, oh, Mark, you played so well. That was so close. Next time you'll have him, and all those horrible words just keep with you. So the point is, I think, is that these closing out elements of a game or set or match determine the match. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We know with the stats, with the Djokovic and Nadals and Federers, over the 11 months of the season, they will win about 54.6% of points, and they will lose about 46% of points. So the margin between glory and money and sponsorship and fame and records and
Very
narrow
small.
runners up
Yeah,
is
very narrow.
a few points.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. So
That's
this,
what,
right. So this takes us into why the need for the training. Why
yes,
big point player? What does it deliver?
yes, that set me off on it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that pain, some training for Northern Ireland, when I was doing, the trainings well, and I said to Star, look, I can do this training well, but when I walk down the streets and, there's a sniper or a crowd and I'm worried what I'll do. And his famous words were, well, trust the training, sir, the training will kick in.
Mm-hmm.
Wondered at the time, well, if we can do that for life or death military, why can't we do that win or lose? And many action replays in tennis. So kind of that set me off. Wimbledon at one stage were talking about pressure. Does anybody know what pressure is and why it invades? Because there was a lady going in meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
And then the very next day, there was an epic 5-set match, world class throughout. And the victor upped their game in the last part of the 5th set. And the commentator went, they're playing the best of this tension-filled match. He is a big point player. And you hear it all the time, particularly in the Grand Slams. He is or she is a big point player. And nobody ever says, and here's how you can train to become one. Right. So that's what set me off.
Excellent, excellent. So talk a little bit about the big point player program, Mark. And I know that you have very specific points in that program that cover exactly that.
Yeah. Yes. And the first thing to say is now I know what I know. And it's what I thought was going to be just a few months of decoding what the military do and bring it into tennis. And it turned out to be 4 years of research, development, and testing. The first thing to just consider is why we spend all our time on hitting balls, which is your entrance ticket into big points, and we spend none of our time on how to close out those big points. It's it. Now you know what you know. It's kind of bizarre. Why don't we train this game within a game? Because this game is the only game that counts. Yes. The rest is just the hors d'oeuvres.
Absolutely.
So without going into too much detail, not because I'm shy, but we just don't have the time.
Of course.
I have, not obviously, but military tennis champion in the army for 12 years, Sandhurst trained, did a few things in different theaters. So I did spend an inordinate amount of time with the military, with special forces to decode what the military do for, ordinary spotty apprentices and junior officers to become extraordinary people when it really matters. So we decoded that. And that's what I thought that was going to be it. I had 2 world-class tennis coaches, genuinely world-class, American Coach of the Year, and Thomas Menzinger, who is probably top 5 internet tennis guru and well-trusted. So they came and converted that training with me in military training into tennis. And then I saw accidentally an interview with Jay Shetty and Novak Djokovic, where he was crediting his finding of spiritual training, which was the key thing in his 2 years of Hero Zero.
Right, I do remember that.
Got him back into Hero. So, so then I have a number of mentors. One is a master of Kung Fu and has been for 28 years, with a Chinese martial art going back 1000 BC. And the underlying spiritual philosophy of Kung Fu, of combat, is the Tao. So we have the Tao, the way, the path in the training. And then we have personal transformation training, either from Landmark Education and or Tony Robbins, because again, I've got mentors there.
Right.
So we packaged all this and then deselected all the unnecessary. So we were left with just the bare minimum that you need to trust the training. The training will automatically kick in under pressure. So it's called the trust method. And we train under pressure. We train tactics, the ability to execute the tactics. We know about pressure. It is your best friend. We train your identity. We train the ability to control your thoughts, feelings, and emotions all at the same time. So if you like, we train the 3 inches by 3 inches between your ears at the same time as the 4'6", 78 foot of the corridor. So there's no tips, there's no secrets, there's no ahas. This is just simply a templated, proven, modular method that if you go through the method, out pops the other side, the ability to execute on autopilot when you need to.
And I think that's honestly, Mark, what I've been so impressed about with this program is that it really takes a holistic approach where, you know, and we all know, right? If anyone spent any time on the internet, there's a lot of different programs out there. There's all sorts of different YouTubers that have different content. So many of them are primarily technically focused. And although that is a part of the game, they're missing the big picture, because really, as you mentioned, what it comes down to is being able to execute in those big moments and having the clarity of mind and emotion and tactics to be able to do that. We find, as you know, so many of the times people have way too many things going on upstairs. And what I like about this from our conversations and what we've seen with the prior player that's gone through this is that it's very clear. There's a system. It's very systematic, and it presents a clear pathway to success that's dependable under pressure.
Yeah, and it's quite subliminal, i.e. there's no real hard work. There's no mental toughness.
Mm-hmm.
There's no things to remember in the book and the video. So when the wolves are howling in your brain, you're not going to remember, oh, I got to be gratitude at this point or breathe. No, you can't do that.
Right.
So it's a subliminal process that's built into you, and all you have to do is go through the process and execute. And really, that's what the webinar is about, is just to spend half an hour or so going through each element of trust. And everybody should get, I think, at least 3 ahas, like I never knew that before. But the point is to come away from the webinar with knowing the method. And then you've got a choice of either executing it and training it by yourself, or allowing myself and Ramon Oza to, I think, more quickly, more cheaply, more effectively, and guaranteed to help you through the process.
Absolutely. So, and there is a full money back guarantee on that, which is amazing. That shows the.
It is amazing, isn't it?
It is.
There aren't that many guarantees in tennis, and this is tied to the hardest metric of all, which is, can you beat your peer group?
Yes, absolutely. Well, listen, I know
you
you're busy.
You go, Mark, I did this and I didn't win. Give us some money back. So that's fully in.
That's absolutely, and I think that's just a testament to the results that I'm sure that you've probably had going through this with others, and being able to throw that out there. So, listen, I know you're a busy guy. How do people get involved? I think the next step, right, is to get them on that webinar, so that way they can get a deeper sense of what the program is about.
If you haven't got a link, we'll give you a link. What they've got to do is click on the link, go on the early bird register. The webinar will be in about 10 days time. We'll let them know. And again, just to stress, this is for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Singles and doubles.
Singles and doubles, but all ages and all ability levels. So this is not just for the hot shot junior going for it.
Right.
Our oldest is 74. And our youngest was in Australia, Melbourne, age 7. So it's for everybody. There's no mystique or magic with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another big plus, and another thing that I've really enjoyed about, seeing one of our players go through it. It is totally transferable to all ages, all levels. So we will, for anybody that's watching this, I will include that link in the email that you'll receive with this recording. So that way, if you are interested in taking the next steps to get involved with the Big Point player and Mark and Ramon, we will certainly include that, so you can jump on there, and that would be certainly the next actionable step that you can take.
Awesome. And then hopefully, COVID willing, sometime me, Ramon, will see you on court in New York, which would be fantastic.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you guys out for sure, Mark.
Thanks, Mike. And look forward to working with your members, or at least seeing them on the webinar. It's all 100% transferable, and it's just our passion and joy. So this is not duty.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, thanks again so much for your time. I very much appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll be in touch soon.
Great.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.
All the best to you.